Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Awaken to Happiness Now Global Series. This is the launch of the Summer Autumn 2024 series. So I'm so grateful that you're here with me. I'm so thankful that and blessed to be able to bring these shows to you, these informative, helpful, transformational shows to you so that we can all thrive in our lives and we can um I just I just want to start off by just basically saying, oh my God, I love you all so much. You're all working so hard. You're all trying different things to change your lives and change your mindset, change your energy, etc. You're working so hard. So many of you doing so much inner work, and I see that, and I just so appreciate that, because as we all do this inner work, as we focus on clearing, etc., all of our gunk, we'll call it, we are making the world a better place, the collective a better place, the planet a better place. Our families, our communities are getting better and better all the time as well. So it's hard work. Trust me, I get it. It's so hard, I know. But I just want to honor you for a minute and just say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing the work. Thank you for showing up on these calls live. Thank you for those of you who are going to be watching or listening on the replay as well. So thank you, thank you. If you are new to me, new to the show, and have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do, so that you can take advantage of all the current shows, all the shows from the past. It is my deepest wish, desire, and intention to bring these shows and these speakers to you. They share wonderful teachings, wisdom, healings, clearings, readings, information, etc. Like I said, so we can all thrive, so we can all change our lives, and so that we can all be happy more often. I'm not going to say every day, because we go through stuff, and as we're clearing and in this ascension process, it's not always easy, but it is about awakening to the happiness within us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's get started. Today, my dear friend Denise Mange is back with us. I love having her on the show. Oh my goodness, I say this every single time, but her readings that she does, and she's going to be doing some later today, are spot on, absolutely spot on. I don't know where she gets the information from, but it's amazing. And just her guidance and wisdom is like phenomenal. I love it. So today we're talking about pets and decluttering our energy. So it's going to be a fun call, valuable call. Please take notes if you can, because there's always so much wisdom. Some of what we're going to talk about today is how pets help you let go of beliefs and mindsets that no longer serve you, how pets help you identify, preserve, and prioritize what is most important, how pets can help you understand your own gifts, abilities, tendencies, and motivations, and of course, so much more. And for those of you who may not know Denise, I'll just tell you a little bit about her. Like I said, she is a pet expert, a pet intuitive, and founder of Pet Prana. So Denise is a certified dog trainer and pet intuitive. After a decade of working at some of the most prestigious advertising agencies in New York City, Denise left Madison Avenue to work with pets and their humans, eventually creating her own mindful pet lifestyle brand called Pet Prana, combining traditional training techniques with energetic considerations of pet guardianship. Denise's work highlights how everyday interactions with our pets have the power to transform us. And again, all of these shows are about how we can transform our lives, how we can transform who we are, so that we can live our highest, fullest potential. So Denise is here with us, and like I said before, we are launching the Summer Autumn 2024 season. So please join me in welcoming Denise back to our show. Like I said, we love having her. So Denise, welcome back.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on the new season. And thank you for hosting me, over the years. I feel like, what's so cool about a platform like yours is that you've had that consistency. We were chatting before, and you started this in 2013. And, through your light and your intention, your community, your soul pack grows. And every time I come back, there's some familiar faces and then some new faces. So the cool part about a platform like this is we're able to grow, expand, and have these conversations together. So it almost feels like those friends that you've had since grade school, that have known you since way back then. So thank you for hosting us, bringing pets into that conversation.
Oh, absolutely. And as you were saying that, it's true. Like, we've been through such a journey, so many of us. And like, there are some people who are on the show that have been with us since the beginning, right? So they've known the journey. We've known our journey together, and it's a warm, family loving feeling, that loving community. And we're all growing together, right? And we've all had challenges, we've all had stuff coming up, but we're still here, we're still together, we're still moving forward on our path, on our journey. Sometimes our journeys, they're not always straight, right? So they zigzag a little bit, but we're always moving forward. And I think that's the key, is having that community that grows with you and flows with you and goes with you as you're going through your life and your path. And so I'm so grateful for that. And of course, Denise, like you've been on our show many times now, and so you've also seen my journey and been a part of my journey, and all the different things that have been going on in my life, right, the past couple of years. And so with that, it is, again, always about how to stay grounded, how to stay present, at the same time, how to do, continue to do the inner work and transformation alongside our pets, with our pets. But it's not always just about our pets, though. Sometimes it's also about the pets in the wild. And we've talked about that on previous shows as well. So for those of you who are new to the show or new to Denise, in order to work with Denise, or to get even like a mini reading, we're going to talk about that later. You don't have to have a pet, right? So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the information that comes through Denise is always so powerful and so spot on. And so that's why it's like, oh my goodness, yes, please come back. Give us more information, give us more wisdom, give us more tools, techniques, so that we can all continue to move forward and thrive in our lives, right?
Beautiful. I love that. And our pets have been with us, as you said, every step of the way. And we might even think of, pets, or to your point, animals in the wild. They're always accompanying us as humans on our journey. And it's so interesting because, September, it's a 9-month in numerology. We're looking at a lot of completion energy, a lot of stepping into our soul purpose energy. I've been working with so many pet parents, or just, people in the spiritual community and spiritual entrepreneurs who've been feeling this sense of like, there's something new coming. I feel like I need to make space for something new, but I'm not entirely sure what it is just yet. And it was interesting because this was in my awareness. And so I was like, you know what? Although typically we talk about spring cleaning, decluttering is something that we're being invited to do. So much so that I did an animal communication session, this past week, and it came through so literally. In this animal communication session, the cat kept telling its pet parent, you need to declutter, you need to streamline, you need to kind of bring everything down. Not that this woman, was a hoarder or anything, tremendous. It was just, she was an average, normal person like all of us, but the call was to streamline down. And so, like many of us, she was a bit overwhelmed. She's like, but I don't even know where I would start. Like, should I hire in an organizer? And the cat was being so prescriptive. The cat was like, 4 forks. Start with choosing 4 forks today. Tomorrow, 7 knives, or 4 knives, 4 mugs, 4 t-shirts. Don't even go through your closet and try to say, is this a yes or no, yes or no? In your mind, already visualize, what are the 4 t-shirts, the 4 sweaters, the 4 pants that bring you the most joy, because that's what you're going to pull out, and leave the rest. Leave the rest. Eventually you can box that up and just get rid of it. If there's boxes laying around, just get rid of the boxes altogether. 4 things. And I found it curious. I was like, well, I get the benefit of decluttering, absolutely, but why 4? In numerology, 4 is a very balanced number. So I'm trying to rationalize it. Turns out at the end of our reading, she let me know, she's like, it's interesting that my cat kept really pushing on that in that number 4, because I've been putting out into the universe that I want to move into a camper. I was like, oh, perfect. You couldn't bring more than 4 of anything if you wanted to anyway. So part of the call to declutter is not only, practical, the therapeutic aspects of it. I love a good decluttering session, but it also is because we're starting to take action. We need to put action behind what it is we're asking for from the universe. If we don't create that space, it's going to be very difficult for us to bring new energy, new projects, new things into our lives. And in that process of decluttering physical items, we're actually letting go of old mindsets and vibrations. Case in point, I write in my book about a scenario where I actually don't have any pets of my own, but I do have a lot of animal guides. And they kept showing up right by my bookshelf, where I had like a collection of books that I'd brought with me since, my high school days in Brazil. And I'm in my 40s now. So, I mean, those books have traveled with me a long way around the world. And they kept showing up there, kept showing up there. I kept ignoring them. And then, it was January. I was watching Marie Kondo's show was really big on Netflix at that point. And so I stopped there. I'm like, okay, what'd you want? And so they're like, you have to, they really prompted me to look at those books. And when I did look at those books, I realized, the first book was Hemingway, The Sun Also Rises, which is all about kind of miscommunication, not having connection, lost love, the longing. I was like, okay, I get that. The second book was The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, which is about Vietnam vets coming home and the PTSD that they dealt with. And then it was like books on bands that I love, like Pearl Jam's 5 Against 1, a book on Nirvana called Heavier Than Heaven. And so I was like, okay, I get it. Like I decided, yes, I will be okay to release the physical books. Not only was I releasing the physical books, but I was releasing the energy behind them. If we look at those titles, as much as I enjoyed reading the books and absorbed the knowledge, it didn't serve me to hold on to that energy. And sure enough, after that, I had this huge invitation to go on this amazing trip that really kind of took me into my next phase of understanding how we connect with our pets intuitively, energetically, and a whole series of courses just downloaded in. So when we talk about decluttering, it might be physical items, it might be, decluttering mindsets and energy, which we'll talk about more. But at the end of the day, the reason behind it is that we're all manifesting, we're all hoping for, we're all wishing for the next project, the next step, the next experience. We need to put action behind those desires and create that space.
I love that. And again, decluttering is not always about the physical because, when I moved from Austria to here, to Canada, let's say, I came with nothing, right? I came back home with nothing. So I decluttered everything, but still I find like right now, the decluttering piece for me is more about, I feel like I'm being pulled in all these different directions and I need to like let those cords and let those things go so that I can be more centered and within myself to find out, okay, where exactly am I meant to go now? Like, what is the next step on my path, right? Because, so like I had all these different ideas or different opportunities, possibilities that were, around for a while, but none of them were actually not moving and at all. So that energy was still there, right? So for me, it is about decluttering all that energy and just being clear, and getting to that space of being clear and, then seeing what shows up, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. And kind of that gets us into more of the energetic debris that we tend to accumulate. And especially those of us who love animals or are pet parents, odds are we're highly empathic, right? We have big hearts. We sense people's energy. We take on a lot from other people. So it's always worth remembering that, there's a lot of energy that we accumulate throughout the day. There's collective energy, which is kind of like the universal experience and beliefs that are held by, our communities, maybe our country, or even, the planet itself. We all have ancestral energy that we're dealing with. Those are going to be the worldviews and outcomes of experiences that have been passed down to us generation to generation. What were those stories that your grandma used to tell you? What are the patterns that you've observed, as we do our own introspection, there is other people's energy, those that surround us. So, and those other people's energy that enters our field is shaped by just daily interactions with colleagues, friends, family, even strangers at the supermarket, right? We can still pick up on their energy. And then there's finally our own energy. And that is, beliefs and mental constructs and how we're feeling and vibrations that are shaped by our own experiences, right? That's something that is completely our own. And so it was really interesting because right before we entered that reset period of 2020, I remember walking on the Venice boardwalk as I do, in mornings to kind of clear my head, clear my energy. And this technique dropped in. And I didn't know why, I didn't know how, but it was just like, you're going to need this. And so the technique that they shared was a very quick way to partner with animals to help clear collective ancestral others and then our own energy. And it was a very quick technique. It started with whenever you're feeling off, do yourself a favor and imagine a collective of tuna fish, those beautiful silver fish that swim in circles, going around you, around you, around you. Breathe, watch them go around you until you take a nice deep breath. They're going to help clear out the collective energy. They're really good at that because they know how to swim in mass, swim as a one big unit. The second thing they said, the second step then is to tune into elephant. Elephant is really beautiful in helping us clear ancestral energy. They have that old soul compassionate, that grandmother energy. So they'll be able to clear out anything that is not necessarily yours, but you picked up through ancestral lineage. They said, now then call on Phoenix to come in and just quickly burn off any energy from other people. It's not that sticky because it truly isn't yours. A lot of it you just kind of picked up randomly walking aisles in the supermarket. Just watch that burn off. And then you call in your favorite pet, your favorite animal companion. It's whether it's a dog, a cat, something you had in childhood or a current pet, just an animal that you feel really connected with one-on-one personality wise. Have them bring you a ball. You throw it. If they bring it back, you throw it again. Bring it back, they throw it again until they stop, because that means they've helped you clear whatever's actually yours. So it might require a few more throws. So this process was really helpful for me because I was picking up on so much. There was so much going on in the world, in our communities. There was that fear, that confusion, that uncertainty. So when I started feeling a little bit of that, I'd go through this process and that would help me get really clear on, okay, am I just picking up on energetic debris from the collective that I just need to declutter before it becomes sticky? Or is it something that I'm actually experiencing and need to look into more deeply? So to me, that was a really helpful technique that bridges that gap between wild animals or animals in the wild and our pets and how they all can help us in our day-to-day.
Oh, I love that. And the thing is, that is a process that we can do every day, and we need to do it on a regular basis because we pick up stuff all the time. And at the same time, when we are becoming aware of certain patterns or things that are coming up, they don't all come up at once. They come up, sometimes this, sometimes that. It doesn't really, like, we can't tell when a certain pattern is going to come up. That could be ancestral, that could be part of the collective, etc. Right? So if you do this on a regular basis, the stuff that is coming up in that moment can be cleared, right?
Absolutely. And I think
right,
beyond that, it helps give us more insight into where that energy was coming from. Because if after my interaction with elephant, I already feel a lot more lighter, I can say, okay, so that seemed to be a lot of collective plus ancestral. Or if the biggest impact I'm picking up on is, through Phoenix, I realized, okay, that just attached. I need to create a little bit of this barrier around myself and make sure that I clear myself more regularly, right? We start understanding where we're picking up the energy, because at the end of the day, that's the most important part of decluttering, is sorting through what's actually mine that I need to really revisit and work on and shift versus what is something that I can really just swipe away or wipe away very quickly. And if it is indeed mine, then we get to work with our animal companions and they'll be reflecting it back in a lot of different ways in our lives. And that's where my whole translating beyond behavior comes in, where we can look at our pets' attitudes, behaviors, whether they're reacting on leash, barking, have separation anxiety, if they're reacting to guests coming in, those all help point us back to different themes and mindsets and beliefs that we need to declutter and work through and redefine.
Wow. And speaking of translating pets' behavior, that is the free gift that Denise is sharing with us. So If you have access to the gifts page, please do download it, take a look at it and see what part of it you can really start to work with right away. Because let's face it, for me, it's definitely the separation anxiety that my poor baby Neo has. But it's also, like I never think of these things, of course, at the time. But when somebody comes to the door, oh my God, he goes crazy. He does. He goes crazy. So, which is great because it's like, oh, somebody's at the door. But then it's like, okay, calm down now, enough, right? But I need to work on that because he is like a guard dog, right? He's a Tibetan Spaniel, so he is like a guard dog. That is his job. So, but then he, at some point he's like, okay, I got it. Thank you. Thank you for the warning. Thank you for letting me know. So that is one thing that I haven't really quite looked at. I mean, I haven't trained him at all, to be honest, right? He's trained me more than anything else. But some of those behaviors, we can start to look at and see, what does it really mean, right? What is it really trying to tell us, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's where I'm not even going to say entering, we're really solidifying a new era of pet guardianship and the way that we relate and connect with our animal companions. Much like that concept of conscious parenting, where, human parents look at their human children and understand, like, okay, if they're frustrating me, they're triggering something specific for me to learn and grow from. We can translate that same notion to our pets. And as we enter this new era of pet guardianship, what's really interesting is training is going to be really important, right? I'm a huge advocate that, there's traditional training where people saw, your pet's behavior is separate from the pet human or the pet guardians. And then you had a lot of really esoteric stories and books and information about how our animal companions, have sacred contracts with us, play the roles. We're in this era where we need to combine those two. We need to bridge the gap between dog training and personal development because they go hand in hand. And when we do that, we can start approaching the concept of dog training less as, okay, my pet's misbehaving, so I need to implement these rules and boundaries, and I need to, troubleshoot now and problem solve. The truth is, dog training or pet training in any capacity is about learning to understand, communicate, and kind of go deeper with them. Just as you teach your children the ABCs, and you teach them and you're giving them this valuable tool that eventually they can write the great American novel with. We need to give our animal companions the basics of training. And you can do that at any age, because not only does it teach them foundational information, but we learn a lot about ourselves through that process as well. We learn as much from that as they do.
And what I find key, that one of the points that you made is really about communication, right? We are in relationship with our pets, and that relationship that we have with them can be strengthened or can become even richer and fuller if we know how to actually communicate with them. And if we don't, and basically communication is trying to, understand what they're trying to tell us by their actions, etc. But it doesn't mean that I understand Neo a lot. I can tell by his look, I can tell by the small sounds that he makes, what he's trying to say, right? So, he's, like I said, he's trained me very well. Right, so I can tell, but somebody else would not. So my mom doesn't hear when he makes those small sounds, right? But I can, and I know exactly what he wants. But that's about me being willing to communicate with him, me being willing to understand what he's trying to convey or ask for or whatever, right?
Absolutely. And communication goes way beyond that, right? That is a very practical benefit. But, in cases like for me, I can speak, firsthand that learning to communicate with pets and animals in the wild then translated to so much more. It helped me open my heart, my intuition, to the point where I started communicating with, everything from pets to galactics, right? They help open up that framework for us, because when we do declutter and we do create that energetic space, now we're more open, right? And one way that our pets teach us to kind of declutter is through observation. Observation is going to be one of the most important things. And this process that I'm about to kind of walk through, this is the solution to anyone who's looking to open up to their spirituality. I remember in 2012 when I left advertising, I had been intuitive as a child, but I'd shut down everything because I kind of got freaked out by what I was seeing. So I'm like, oh, never mind, this goes away. So in 2012, when I left advertising, I started my journey of opening up back to my intuition. And I wasn't going to do it just, if it was like I was going to see disembodied human spirits, like forget that. But if it came to working with pets, animal communication, now my heart opens. So this is kind of an anecdote and kind of a process for anyone who is in that process, who wants to open up their intuition, who wants to find their gifts, find their purpose. Maybe you're looking for a guru, you're looking for courses, you've taken a bunch of courses on how to tap into your clairs, you're listening to all the spiritual podcasts. The spoiler alert is our animal companions are the best partners at helping us open up to our intuition and find our gifts. The first step is they teach us to be observers, right? So they teach us to observe, just as you said, what kind of little barks mean what. We're listening to, any little sounds they're making. We're watching for any flicker of the ear. We know exactly what that means. If they are barking or reacting, we're observing our surroundings and the context, what's going on, what's triggering them. And then the thing that they also help us do in this observation is they force us to face triggers. Because if I'm getting triggered about, my dog's barking a lot and I'm starting to get triggered and frustrated, I might realize that that feels a very specific way in my body. And there might be a resonance in how that feels linked into my career. Maybe I never feel heard, or I feel like people just bark orders at me all the time and my input isn't asked for or requested, right? So at work, I might just ignore that or write that off. But if my pet's barking, now all of a sudden I'm facing that energy and vibration and trigger. And I'm going to go deeper into that mindset to understand how I can become more empowered. And as I work with my pet to train them, to have that consistency, to change my mindset, because if I don't change my mindset, my energy is going to hold that frustration and that story. And my pet's going to keep reflecting that back to me until I've kind of shifted into more empowered energy. So that's the first thing they do. They teach us to be observers and actually face triggers. We can't kind of blow them off when it comes to our pets. The second thing they do is they teach us to clear our energy, right? Because, as we were saying, until my energy is clear and I've been able to kind of shift my thoughts, my preconceptions, my habits that are leading to that behavior in my pet and also showing up in other areas in my life, I'm not going to see the shift with my animal companions. The third thing they do is they teach us to trust our intuition. And this becomes really important because as I kind of go deeper and I start translating my pet's behavior, I might understand that them barking has something to do with how am I using my voice? How am I communicating? Am I communicating authentically as a leader? But I need to use my intuition to understand exactly what that stems from. Is it from career? And if it's from career, was it childhood as well? So I'm starting to trust myself a little bit more to get at the core of what's going on. I'm trusting myself when I'm working with my pet to say, you know what? All the dog training resources are telling me to do this. I don't think that's going to work for Neo. We're going to change it to be something very specific. We start trusting our intuition as pet parents, which then helps us open to new connections. So this is where now my intuition is aligned, my energy is clear. I might start doing some research and learning about perhaps working with, different, Archangel Michael. He's very powerful. He can help clear the energy. He's got that presence. So maybe when he's barking, I'm going to call in that energy of Archangel Michael to kind of sit with me, back me up. And now I have a new guide that's come into my experience. And from Archangel Michael, it might expand to working with the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians are extremely connected with our animal companions, helping us clear emotion, especially childhood trauma. So now all of a sudden my field is open. And the kind of fifth stage is when something happens with my animal companions, which inevitably you have, your pet's sick or, they're throwing up or, maybe something even a bit more overwhelming, like, they've gone missing or they're transitioning. Now I always say that necessity is the father of invention, right? Now I'm bringing in tools. I'm going to start leveraging some hands-on healing I read about. I'm feeling called to do light language, anything to help my pet. So when we declutter our energy, when we use our animal companions to help us understand and reflect back to us our mindsets through their behavior, their physical being, we open up to our intuition, our gifts, our purpose, our abilities, and all through their partnership.
I love that. I had no idea, right? That it was so complete, this whole process. But the thing is, for me, it is about first just it starts to open up your heart space, right? I mean, you can't help but open up your heart when you are in communication with your pets. It's like it just happens naturally, right? But the more that you do it and the more that you observe yourself during those moments, for me, it's like just pure joy. It's like laughter and joy and happiness, etc. It's like it's amazing. And then, of course, we do. I agree. We do become more intuitive, because I definitely have, since being with Neo, or Neo being with us. Definitely more intuitive. So definitely, I mean, I never thought of it that way, but oh my goodness, they are such a gift for us to help us awaken, to help us on our ascension journey, on our ascension path, and to get to know who we truly are, right? Then that's what, self-realization, ascension, etc. That's what it's all about, getting to know who we are. And I think, our pets are such great teachers, but not just teachers, or just such masters with us, right? And they help us so much. So I love that. Thank you. And just understanding that is it can be just eye-opening for a lot of people.
And let's be real, right? Of course, we have joyful moments. We love them more than anything, but they can also trigger us, right? You sat down to finally do your Zoom meeting and you took them for a walk, you did everything, you sit down, all of a sudden they have to go to the bathroom again, right? So there are things that frustrate us as well, but we know that everything within our relationship with them is couched in unconditional love, growth, potential. So they can tolerate us being frustrated. They don't judge us for that. They don't hold it against it. They're not hurt. They can trigger joyful moments. They can trigger frustration. And that's the true nature of a multidimensional experience and relationship that we share with our pets.
Oh, it's such a special relationship, and you always bring more information, more wisdom, more nuances of this relationship that, I don't necessarily think about, right? But you always bring all this wonderful wisdom to us, just to really show us how special and how important our pets are for us, right? How important they are for us, but of course we are also important for them as well. But I think in the mainstream, people still don't see that, of how important these pets are for us, for our journey, for our path, for our awakening and ascension. They don't see that. And so I'm just so glad that you were able to share this wisdom with us, to open our eyes and open our hearts even more, to and bring humility to us even, as well at the same time. So yeah, thank you. I love that.
Think mainstream, especially post 2020, as we see mindfulness and wellness really picking up. I think a lot more people will nod their heads than they did 10, 15 years ago to our pets are mirrors, our pets teach us a lot. I think where sometimes we get tripped up is understanding exactly what it is that they're trying to show us and translate to us. And that's where having the framework that was downloaded to me from the Pleiadians, actually, about matching up your pet's behavior, like barking, separation anxiety, having accidents around the house, and translating exactly what it's reflecting in your life as a starting point, what universal themes. So on-leash reactivity, where they're barking or lunging or freezing up on leash, has to do with themes of safety, grounding, security. Separation anxiety links to us looking at broader things in our lives of kind of guilt and, people pleasing, balance between masculine, feminine, our needs and other people's needs, and so forth. I've mapped each of the common pet behaviors. But I think people are getting that. But sometimes when you're in the thick of it, it's hard to understand where to start looking. So this information and resources is so helpful. And then I love, even in the chat, a couple people have mentioned, like Autumn says, you know, my kitty has a strange habit in recent months of drowning her toys in her water dish. I feel like she wants to communicate something, but I'm not sure what. I love that because, you know, your kitty is really supporting us on this topic. Oh my gosh, she's washing her toys. This is her showing you to clear the energy, clean energy, clear out the house, clear out your space. It's about that intentional living where, you know, we're regularly doing clearings in our lives. We're coming home and we're doing that energetic exercise with the tuna, with elephant, with Phoenix and your pet. So, you know, we can just use exactly what they're showing us and sometimes quite literally translate that symbolism. Or Marion says how, you know, she had a friend helping her 15-year-old female cat with Reiki, but after a few days, the cat started refusing the Reiki healing. And Marianne understood that was a sign for her to take over and start doing the Reiki healing herself. That's so right on. More and more, our pets are saying, stop trying to seek outside experts. I'm here to help you open up to that. So, you know, all of us as pet parents, we're hearing these messages, we're observing these messages. Sometimes we might need a little help translating them, but our pets, especially at this moment in time, are really drawing our attention to how we can be empowered in the relationship, what new gifts and abilities we have. So if you need some framework to help translate the behavior a little bit, that's always a helpful starting off point. But I always say, as a pet parent, you're the expert. Trust your instinct, your gut, because you're highly intuitive.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it is always better to trust yourself the best you can. I always like to get information from experts or doctors, etc. But then I run it through my own discernment, right? It's like, okay, how does this feel to me? What does, you know, like, what do I get from this, right? And then I proceed. And so normally it works out great, right? But you know, always look at what is the best for your pet, okay? Awesome. So Autumn says, I never would have guessed that. Thank you, about wanting to, you know, clean the space, and she's cleaning her toys, etc. So that's great. I love that. All right, go ahead.
And I just love that, you know, if anybody walks away from this conversation with one takeaway, it's, what is my pet trying to tell me? Like, I love, you know, Jill says, you know, my senior cat is, you know, will not use the litter box. I will have to think how this relates to me. I love that. Like, if anybody walks away with the, let me think about how this relates to me more. I love that. That's exactly what our pets want us to do. That's the most empowering thing we can do for ourselves as well. Jill, we can go in and feel into what's going on with Bobby in particular, but I don't want to jump into the Q&A until Shefali leads us there.
Yep, absolutely. No, I think we're almost there. I just want to double check a few more things. So we are going to be taking some live caller questions. And so, of course, we already have some people with their hands raised, but you can raise your hand or you can type your question in the chat, whatever works for you. I think we can take some questions now, and then we will, yeah, let's take some questions. It's always so interesting and so fun to see what kind of questions people have, and we all learn from the wisdom that comes through. So be willing to also receive the wisdom from everyone's questions, okay? Because you know we may not get to everybody, but we'll try and do the best we can, okay?
And I think when we do Q&A, you know, one thing that's always helpful is to know the name of your pet, what kind of pet it is. Is it a dog, a cat, if they're with us or not? And then a specific question that you might have, or a scenario, just as the folks that have outlined here, like they're not using the litter box or this or that, rather than just what does my pet want me to know? Because we tend to get richer answers when there's more intention behind the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. All right. So Linda has her hand raised for a while. Linda, you there?
Yep, I sure am. Hi, Denise. It's so good to see you. I'll put my phone on. Yes, I lost a grand dog 2 months ago, and it was such a heart sobbing. I couldn't believe how bad it was for me. But has he been helping me be able to touch Benny? He's a dog. He's a dog. Okay. Black Lab and Bernese Mountain Dog.
Okay.
And he would sit on me all the time. He'd sit on my feet. He wouldn't let me move forward. He's like sat in front of me and said, you rub me now. And he showed me where he wanted to rub me, what I was supposed to rub him. And I did. And I could tell where he was hurting and stuff. So I always trusted.
Linda, that's beautiful. And so Benny's the one who sat in front of you, or the other dog?
No, Asher.
Asher. Okay, perfect. So let me feel in. Okay, I love it. So here's the, oh my gosh, Asher, I love this. So I always like to pull the numerology of the pet's name as well. You know, it helps give a little bit of insight. And so the really beautiful thing about Asher is Asher's name ends with that 59, which is the empathic healer. So the empathic healer is the one that's able to kind of bring in energy. They filter things through their body, almost like a little Brita, then they put out other things. So they tend to be very sensitive to their surroundings. And his name starts with an 11, which is that really beautiful master vibration of connectedness, right? Being very connected in with the energy, receiving messages, the teacher number. And then he has 8 within his name, which is as above, so below. So Asher was a natural healer. And you, Linda, you have the 95 in your name, which also is the healer number, but it's, you don't have to filter it into your body. So hence the, like, you just kind of know what's going on in the body. So Asher is, it's not so much that he's teaching you how to do it. He activated it within you. He made you trust that what you were receiving was correct. So you have a lot of medical intuition in your energy. And I'm actually really happy that you asked about yourself this time, because I feel like in past calls, it was always making questions on behalf of other people. This is a moment for you to empower yourself, for you to realize you are a healer. You also have a lot of visual ability to do healing. So you know where to put your hands intuitively. If somebody sent you a picture of their pet, or someone just gave the name of their pet and what kind of pet it was, you could just draw out a silhouette of that species, a dog, a cat, a bird, whatever, and you'd be able to see on an image. So what I would say right now is get to know, start familiarizing yourself with, they're showing, you know, like holistic health books where it's like the outline of a human and like meridians, chakras, like lymph nodes. Start familiarizing yourself just where those things are on bodies, so that when you kind of set out the intention to do healing for a person or for an animal or for yourself, you are familiar with those, and the universe will be able to flash in like, oh, got it, lymph nodes. So just as much as you can by osmosis absorb images of those frameworks, you'll be able to recall it, because you have this natural healing ability that you're finally taking time to trust.
Thank you. I love having you on the show. I mean, every time I am so blessed that I get to talk to you, because some on the other shows you're here and gone so fast. And so I so appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much, Shefali.
Thank you. And
thank you, Linda.
Sorry, by the way, that Asher's transitioned. I know that's always a hard moment, but he's very much by you a lot. And it's interesting because he shows himself in kind of white gear and like a white turban, almost like your mentor, guide, partner in healing. So you can call on him at any time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love you both so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Linda. Love you too. All right, we're going to go to Tanya. Tanya, you want to unmute?
Yes. Hello.
Awesome. Hi.
So I gave away my dog, as you know, a year ago, and just want to know if he's happy and healthy and everything is fine with him, and if he ever wanted kind of send me any message.
What's his name? His name is Duke.
Duke, yes.
I love that. So what the energy around Duke is kind of communicating to you is bravo on your courage. You chose you, which was so important. So he still wants you to stand by that decision. right? It's so important that you understand that that was nothing that harmed him. That was nothing that was something that he was sad about or resented. For him, he feels fulfilled because he came to help you make a choice to choose yourself, and he did. So he says bravo and just kind of claps around that. And he says every time he kind of creeps into your awareness, that's going to be the reminder of, do I have to make a better choice for me in this moment? Am I overgiving? Look at the relationship, look at the context of when he comes into your awareness, because he's going to be just that very quick shorthand or cliff note of, are you choosing others above yourself? Because Tanya, you have a beautiful energy. You are such a giving heart. Your aura is so porous that for you, it's difficult to choose yourself. You feel like it's what's that expression? A sum zero game. Like if you choose yourself, someone else's loses. And that's not it at all. When you choose yourself, nothing happens when it comes to the other person. They go on their merry way. We tend to think that, oh my gosh, they're going to be upset. They're going to be hurt. They're going to lose something. No, it's not that at all. It's not that big of a deal when we choose ourselves for others, but it's a big deal when we choose ourselves for ourselves. We're showing our inner child ourselves love, care, and consideration.
It's just the guilt, I feel. That's all.
Yeah. And so that's going to be the second chakra. Work on the second chakra. Call in the colors yellow, brown, orange, the joyfulness, no guilt. And guilt is just that byproduct of thinking that when you choose yourself, someone else's loses. So I would also do that exercise because that feels ancestral too.
Okay.
Not all your own.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Thank
Tanya.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Love you both too. Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Love you, Tanya. I went through that last year, and it was horrible. I had to leave Timmy, find a new home for him in Austria, and it was the worst. It was like, I mean, some of I remember I had that rash all over my face. It was from stress because I was so upset and I was feeling so guilty and all that stuff. But oh my God, like the home that we found for him was way better than what I could ever give him or what he could have here in Canada, way
Exactly.
better. So, like it all worked out and he's happy and he's well taken care of. But the guilt, I totally agree because, I felt horrible. And the people on social media, oh my God, they were so cruel. I think I mentioned that. They were so cruel. It's like but sometimes you have to choose you, right? And so it's a fine balance sometimes between, I want to choose me, but I also want to choose what's best for him at the same time, right? I don't want to do anything bad to him kind of thing, right? So it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I know he's so much better with the woman that he's with now. She loves him so much, takes so good care of him. He has it's so much freedom. Oh my goodness, like way better than I could have given him here in Canada.
Yeah,
so
same here.
yeah, so that's what you have to keep reminding yourself, that you were actually doing something that was actually better for him than what you could give, and that's what we want when we truly love a pet or an animal, a child, whatever. We want only the best for them. And so that's what you were trying to do for him.
And the other thing to that is that Duke's energy vibrates at a 23/5. 5 is the number of the explorer, the adventurer, the one who wants multiple variety of experiences in a lifetime. And so some of our pets come into our lives for their entire life, some just for a season. And, they want to be a pet that experiences different kind of families and experiences in this life. And that number 5 would indicate that that's for Duke, right? He wanted a variety of experiences. So, sometimes even looking at the numerology helps us come to terms that, at the end of the day, you could almost look at this as you fulfilled his wishes, before he even embodied that name. That was his wish and desire and contract with you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Feel a bit better.
Good. Thank you. Love you. All right, we're gonna go to S.J. Chadwick. I mean, obviously you are new to the show because I don't remember seeing that name before. Your camera may not, oh, there it is. Hi.
Hi, I've listened to some of your calls over the years.
Awesome, good. Well,
Yeah,
welcome
usually
back.
on replays, but
That's
I
okay,
think
that's great.
yeah, thank
So you
you.
had a question for Denise?
Yes, I'm staying with a friend for now. I'm being told it's a stepping stone, and I have my 4 kitties with me, and they're not following their regular routine. There's 2 other cats in the house, which one of my kitties had met a few years ago already. But my Tommy, he's sleeping a lot. They're not playing as they usually do and whatnot, and sometimes getting into mischief. But he's sleeping a lot, and I just wanted to make sure he's okay.
Okay, beautiful question. So the first thing I will say is I'm not a medical intuitive, so I can share what comes through in the energy, but I always recommend you trust your instinct, or you work with vets if you're worried. But what I can share is what's coming through energetically with Tommy. And so with his name, he's got those double 4s with the N, Tommy. So it's 44. 4 is the number of routine, of consistency. So when I see a lot of that amplified 4 energy, I know that they like their routine. So for Tommy, the sleeping is, he's just a little uncomfortable being out of his everyday norm, being in kind of a new place. There's 6 cats, there's a lot going on. So him sleeping becomes his stepping stone, his milestone to create a routine for himself, to create consistency for himself. So the sleeping is a little bit of escapism, just as we do have too.
Okay.
He's not showing me anything to worry about, or that he's, overly stressed or upset or anxious. It's just he's a routine guy and his routine's off. So he's dealing with it the best way he knows how.
Okay, he's not sick.
Not that he's showing me, but as I said, I always, check with professionals, vets, that kind of thing. But that's what he's kind of indicating for me as far as the energy behind the physical experience that you're seeing.
My routine's off too.
Exactly.
Yeah, very
So
off.
what I would suggest is, for your benefit and for Tommy's, what are some milestones you can create for your cats? And maybe even invite the other 2 cats from the home in on it. It might be as simple as, every day at 10 a.m. doing a little bit of a gratitude list over a cup of tea, or, playing certain games. Anything we can do to create those milestones will be helpful.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Well,
Have a great day. That's
Awesome.
reassuring. Thank you.
good.
Okay, thank you.
Good, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so we still have some more people with their hands raised, and well, we have some questions also in the chat. But as it is almost the top of the hour, I just want to take a few minutes and talk about the special offers that Denise has for us. So I'm going to just share my screen in 1 second. 1 second, let me find the right screen here. I'm going to share my screen, and so that Denise can share with us the offering that she has. You should be able to see my screen now, and yeah, I think so. So Denise has 2 packages, A and B. So Denise, do you want to go over the package A?
Yeah, so with these packages, I wanted to create something that was just very much tailored to each of us here on the call. When we talk about the energy of September, of us being called to kind of create space for new things, to me, what seemed to be most important was creating clarification for you guys. And sometimes we're very connected with our animal companions, but it's helpful to get, messages directly from, quote unquote, the horse's mouth. So the first package has a 30-minute intuitive reading with me. It's one-on-one. I pull the numerology of your name, your pet's name. It's recorded so that you get a recording of it. And we can connect with as many, animals or energies as we'd like during our time together. And we can connect with pets, whether they're here embodied or if they've transitioned. And even if you don't have a pet per se, You know, say you love dolphins and you want to connect in with messages from dolphins, we can do that in this session. Different animal communicators get different sorts of information. Some get, I like this toy, others get a lot of medical stuff. As you guys can tell here in these readings, what tends to come through most strongly for me is what's going on in the human's life through the lens of the pet. Because when we understand our habits, our abilities, what we need to declutter, our gifts, our purpose, we vibe higher and so can they. So these are really interesting kind of animal communication sessions where we get a lot of information that's not only intuitive, but also very hands-on and practical.
Absolutely.
The next item on this list is an invitation to join 1 month of our private membership group's live oracle card readings. And these are a lot of fun. We get together live. I pull cards for the group, but then you guys are also invited to pull cards for the group as well if you have tarot cards. We share messages, we share hits that, you know, we're all getting as a, you know, as a soul pack. And then I go through and I'll pull individual cards for each of you, for each of the participants. And so it's a fun way to not only get messages from our animal companions, but also share your intuitive hits with the group, because everybody who joins has such a connection and sees things just a little bit differently. So we end up having really interactive, wonderful discussions. And then the third item is going to be select chapters from my book, Translating Your Pet's Behavior. So it's some setup information that I think will be helpful for everyone as we talk about this new vanguard of pet guardianship that speaks to, you know, why it's important to learn how to translate our pet's behavior, how pets act as mirrors, understanding our motivation and how it kind of links in with theirs, and this concept of, you know, pets as mirrors and translating their behavior. So it's a nice little grounding into this philosophy that we've been putting into practice together.
So that is package A, and then package B includes everything in package A plus the mindful approach to dog training full course bundle. So there's a lot of information here. So I'm going to let you explain a little bit about this.
Yeah, so this would be an add-on for the pet parent who actually wants to do hands-on training with their pet, whether it's a new puppy, a rescue, or a mature friend. What this does is it goes through and helps you work with all the basic aspects of living and connecting with a pet. Each module has videos and how-to videos on not only the topic, but step-by-step how to teach different commands with your pets. But then it incorporates the energetic considerations of each of those behaviors, whether it's on-leash reactivity, separation anxiety, housebreaking issues, you know, because we want to make sure that we're collaborating and working with our pets on all fronts. As important as it is to do traditional training, it's to understand the energy and the mindsets behind the behavior that's being reflected back to you. So this has a lot of videos, a lot of how-tos, very hands-on, practical stuff for someone who wants to kind of just go through and either start or refresh some of the training with their furry friends.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so, of course, both packages, there is a payment plan available. And if you're an Inner Circle member, please use your gift code. And there's some wonderful testimonials from people who have worked with Denise. So please check those out. There's a fuller bio of Denise as well on the page here. So please check that out because I only shared briefly a little bit. So again, here are the two packages, A and B. Package A is $149 and package B is $249. And of course, like I said, there's a payment plan available for both. And if you're an Inner Circle member, please do not forget to use your gift code. So thank you, Denise. And I always say this, but I'm going to say it again. And but I definitely need package B. Right, I have to.
Slowly, we're coming to terms.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I want to take just a few more questions, if that's okay. I know there were some in the chat as well that I did not go through, so I just want to quickly take some. So Randy, if you're still here, Randy was talking about he met a Bigfoot close up. Do you any information about that? So obviously there's no name for Bigfoot, right?
Ah, interesting. So who was the person that asked that question?
It says Enteleki, but it's Randy.
Randy. Wow.
I forget Randy's last name, but Randy.
I would actually ask Randy, you tell me, what is that? What did you get from Bigfoot close up? I probably would have asked Bigfoot to stay, because I'd be freaked out by a big, large, kind of furry being in front of me. So I wonder what your experience and your interaction with Bigfoot was.
I'll keep this short out of respect for other people's opportunity. So I didn't see it, but the muffler was falling off a car up this 14-mile dirt road in the back of Lake George by Whitehall. And so we got out to fix it, and we heard something walk towards us. We could hear the unweighting of footsteps. It was obviously standing right there, looking right at us. So we heard it walk up to us, but we didn't ever see it. But I screamed at it, thinking, what could it be? Moose, bear, person, mountain lion? It's none of those things. I screamed at it, and it screamed back. And we were terrified. But it didn't leave. We revved up the car with no muffler, flashed the lights, beat the horn, whatever it is gone. No, it was still standing there. And then it answered me back the second time when I spoke to it. And there was less terror. We already had our moment. It was probably sitting there chuckling, I think, because, being of that nature, you have a bunch of experiences. What do you do when they scream at you? You scream back.
That's so interesting, Randy. And I think actually that's such a beautiful story that reflects and has echoes in everything from our animal companions to AI, right? Because that notion of what do we do when faced with something new, we reflect it back. So you scream, Bigfoot screams. Bigfoot screams, you scream, right? So it's that reminder that our energy and our reactions can really inform a lot of the reactions, the behaviors, the interactions. So when we are in a place of the unknown, always making sure that we are trying to interact and be as conscious and high vibrational as possible in any given situation. When we're startled, of course, I mean, I think my reaction probably would have been more severe than yours. I would have ran. But, when we're dealing with things, especially technology like artificial intelligence and AI, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm always careful of being extremely polite, because if this is a model that's learning how to be human, I want to show the best aspects of human nature to this, kind of being that is AI, for it to model that back to us. When we're working with our pets, if we're asking them to be calm, that doesn't do much. But if I'm showing them calm and my energy is calm, then they pick that up. So I think for me, the biggest takeaway from your amazing story, which thank you for sharing with us, is this notion of remembering that sometimes we need to lead by example, or understand that our reaction is just mirroring back the energy of another one. And if we don't like what that looks like or feels like, we have the power to break that cycle and reflect a different energy to be reflected back.
I like that. Like dealing with people who think they're in control of money. You can tell they're gaslighting you, but you want to try to be nice rather than alienate them right away and tell them they're gaslighting you. That's one of the ways I understand what you said.
Absolutely.
You want to lead like my friend that's a bigot. If I don't, some of my friends are gay, and I let them lean in, because I've already had enough experience with having a hard edge and pushing people away from me and saying we're different. Not everybody sees that the same way, but I'm at a place where something so different, I can be at ease with it and let it, let them lean in a little, so that we're all having a better day.
I love that. And I think that, we're at a point in our human experience where we may be faced with a lot of new stuff, new energy, new consciousness, new beings, who knows? And so it's that old adage of be the energy you want to see, right? If I want love, if I want more love in the world, I need to be love. I need to put love out. You get what you give type energy. So if all of us who are in these conscious communities are putting out that positive energy, that love, it will be reflected back. If we're seeing something we don't love reflected back to us, what's the antidote? Let's reflect that instead. I'm super optimistic about humanity. Maybe it's because I work with humans and pets all day, but I think there's so much love out there that if all of us come together and get that beautiful Care Bear stare, out into the world, we elevate the vibration and it's reflected back to not only us, but all of us, right? Humanity, the collective.
Be that
Absolutely.
beauty that you'd like to see reflected in others.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I bow to others. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. That was beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so Michelle had written in the chat. She said, my dog Luna has been fearful of going outside on sunny days and better on cloudy days. I'm wondering why, sorry, why this would be. This is so interesting. And I'm opening up to new thoughts.
I love that. Okay. So let me just feel into this energy. I love that. Okay. So part of what's going on with this, with Lula being fearful of going outside on sunny days and better on cloudy days, has to do with shadows, which is really interesting. So there's two things coming through with Luna. One is it's easier to see things when there are no shadows around it. So when it comes, and that's going to be a conceptual statement, right? When I don't have to see the light in the dark and I can just see one aspect of a shape, to me now I can wrap my head around it. I understand it. There's nothing that I have to kind of shield my life from. I can see it full on without straining my eyes in its purest form. When it comes to the sun and the brightness, there's a shadow. So now there's another aspect that's kind of attaching it to itself to that form. My eyes are squinting. I don't feel like I can look at it for very long. So I would say go back to Plato's cave allegory, where it was all about we lived in a world of shadows and we're starting to see the true form of things. I won't go into that because I don't want to, I love the cave allegory and how it relates to our spiritual journey. But, that's something that you can Google and kind of see what you take away from it. The second thing, which is interesting, is Luna might be having a little bit of cataracts or sensitivity in her eyes, or maybe you might. So just physically, just take a look at the eyes and just watch her a little bit. If she's one of those dogs that has the shaggy fur over her eyes, she might have just gotten groomed and maybe they did it a little too short. So make sure that they kind of cover it through, or they let that length of the hair be a bit longer. But it's really this really interesting notion conceptually about seeing things in their full form without, kind of distortions attached to it or too much light shining on it that's distorting it. I love that because it sounds very philosophical. It sounds like you're on this really cool point of exploration and perceiving in new ways. And Luna will be a great partner with that for sure. She has that 33 energy in her name, which is very connected to the universe, the cosmos, and kind of understanding and unveiling the mysteries of the universe. So you've got a good partner in this exploration, Michelle.
Awesome. Wow. So Michelle, let us know how that resonates with you. And definitely if you think it's something physical, get that checked as well. Okay. And yeah, exactly. What's going on with your eyes? Are you reacting and squinting in the sun? Like, it's always about, this is what's happening with my pet. What is, what's going on with me right now? Right. So looking at both sides, the best you can. Awesome. I love that. So Marianne, I know you wrote your question in the chat, but you already have your hand raised. So you want to ask your question about Kokini, I guess? You want to unmute? It might be late where you are, but.
Yes,
Hi.
please. So it's actually about both Romops and Kokini. They both had digestive issues, and Romops was throwing up, and the medication wasn't helping, and we had to put him to sleep earlier this month. And our Kokini also had digestive issues, but she had constipation. So I'm wondering how this reflects back on where I am in my life, or what they are teaching me.
Marianne, thank you for sharing this, and I'm so sorry to hear that you had to put down roll mopes. I know that's a really tough decision, and just know that there's no roll mopes is not showing any like sadness around that. It was a check. He's giving you a green check mark, as in good job, well done, correct answer. So he wants you to know that first and foremost. The thing about digestion, which is quite interesting, is, you know, the other thing, by the way, sorry, Kokini's like, don't forget that. Part of the reason why roll mopes left when he did is we're in a moment where the energy is a lot more intensified. Our lessons are a lot more intensified. Our soul contracts with our animal companions are more intensified. So what I found is in the past couple of months, August, September, even a little bit into July, families that had multiple pets found one pet leaving, whether they had to be put down for some reason and euthanized, or they ran away, or they were given away, you know, they were rehomed. There's some reason why there's a paring down of our relationship with pets so that we can get more intense and focused. So with that being said, I'm going to focus on Kokini's digestive issues. And so that severe constipation is all about having to understanding how you're letting go of things, right? Again, Marianne, you have that beautiful 55 energy within your name with that double N. So what they're asking you to do is to do a lot more when you're clearing your energy, using your voice, using sound, using frequency. So in your home, it would look like maybe going around your house with a sound bowl, or even with just a crystal glass going ding, or even just clapping. Sound for you is the best way to dissipate energy. When you're looking at things that you're swallowing, but you're bottling in, you're not releasing mindfully, screaming, singing, chanting, that's going to help you release. So what Kokini is kind of drawing your attention to is, how are you releasing things when it's time to let go? Both the difficult things that we stuff deep down inside, or just the day-to-day, which we just don't take time to clear. It's about intentional clearing that they're drawing your attention to. So even that process we talked about with tuna, elephant, phoenix, you know, using Kokini as your pet, that can help too. It's just being more mindful about how you're clearing, and they recommend you do it with sound.
Well, interestingly, when I'm feeling good in my body, I am singing and humming all the time. And but not so much when I'm not feeling so well.
Yeah. So that's where perfect example, and very good observation on your part. So when you're not feeling so well, it might not be a joyful sing necessarily. It might be a deeper hum, or a bigger frustration, or a grr, or a groan, until it gets to the point where you feel the levity again. So using that whole scale of notes, right? All the range of sounds that we can use, because we also don't want to be disingenuous or fake, right? We don't want to sing the happiest tune when we're feeling down necessarily. So let your body show you what sound to use.
Yeah, and also a few months ago, my light language came through, or one light language. Yeah. So I think I also need to use that more to clear and release, and more mindfully and more regularly.
Beautiful, Marianne. I love that. Light language is such a powerful tool. So the more you use it, the more it expands and grows.
Okay, thank you.
Great, Marianne. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Marianne. All right, so we just have a few more minutes, but I wanted to just get to Marion and Trudy and Scott, because they've been waiting for so long. Marion, you had a question for Denise?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. So thanks a lot. I have something like not really related. I have since like 3-4 months a recurring dream of a whale and different rooms. And while I thought I have to manifest that kind of outwardly. I now come to the conclusion it might be more inwardly, and I'm not getting it. Do you have any starting points or any idea what that means? Because
Love
that
that.
would be wonderful.
So it's a reoccurring dream of whales showing up in different rooms in your house.
It's basically one big whale, like a blue whale or a humpback whale. It's big, it's huge. Like and it doesn't really, it's more like a museum, and around there's a lot of sound.
Okay.
But it's not really specific. And whatever I try, I'm just like, okay.
I love that. So the whales are connected in with the Syrian energy. And so I don't know if you're familiar with Syrian energy, the galactic consciousness of the Syrians, but they are master healers and cleansers. And the Syrians have been working with us very strongly in the past, over these summer months, these past few months, in clearing and changing and healing timelines. So that big whale energy is an invitation and reminder that you have connections with the Syrians, and that you're being called to kind of come in and just sit in with that energy, with the sound of the whales, with the vocalization of the whales, with the frequency of the whales. Because by bringing that into where you are, you anchor that into your space, and you're helping with the timeline shift. Syrians are also very connected with blue energy, with water, and with clear crystals. So if you have any of those, call them in. But look into, do a beautiful Google search on Syrians. Look into that galactic consciousness and see what pops up for you. Because there's always a lot of, Google's one of my favorite divination tools, because my Google looks different than yours. The universe can drop exactly what you need to know and follow that rabbit hole. But it's all about you being part of assisting with the Syrian efforts to heal and shift for higher vibrational timelines. So thank you for the work you do. Welcome to your Starseed group. And to that whale music, go on YouTube, get that humpback whale, listen to the singing, and let it wash over you.
I do that already, but I felt like maybe there is something deeper that and I was Googling it, and clearing ancestral lines and everything, and connecting, and I'm feeling home, but I felt like maybe there is something deeper or more actionable, but that's kind of what I've been doing so far, because I have no clear, what I say, understanding so far. So maybe I just need to do it. Thank you very much further.
So the answer they want me to very specifically give you is, it's not so much that you needed to know the actions to take, because what you're doing is taking the action. This reading or information is there for you to understand the purpose and how you fit in with that collective of the Syrians. So it's a realization of your purpose and the work and why you feel drawn to do all of that.
Okay, thanks. That helps. That helps a lot. Okay. Thank you.
That's important work, and the Syrians are super cool.
Okay, thanks you. Thank you so much for having the time and everything. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you, Marion, and good luck with the whales and working with them. Yep.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Awesome. Okay, where am I? Hold on. Oh, hold on. All right, so Trudy, you want to unmute yourself? I know you've been waiting for a long time.
Okay, thank you for taking my call. My dog Buddy is so fearful of when it gets dark and when it starts thundering, and he shakes so badly, and I just don't know how to help him.
And you said his name is Buddy, like my
Buddy.
little...
Yeah.
Beautiful. So Trudy, thank you for that question, because that happens with a lot of our pets. The first question I'm going to ask you is, how old is Buddy, more or less?
He's 10 and a half.
Okay, so he's already gone through his fear imprint period, so that's good. So what's coming through with Buddy is the 44 popping up. And it's interesting because we heard about that 44 number with Tommy. It's the amplified energy of 4. So the biggest reason why Buddy kind of freaks out during thunderstorms and all that thing is the unexpected, the clashing thunder and the feeling of being shaken to the core by the unexpected. So what I would say to you, Trudy, is in your life, go back and reflect on, were there any changes in your life that were unexpected that shook you to the core? And have we processed that? Have we decluttered that? And what helps you kind of move past that to help with Buddy? A lot of our animal companions do have that phobia of thunder, and practical things like wrapping them with like a tight blanket or a thunder shirt helps.
I do all that, and I even now the vet told me give him a little melatonin.
Melatonin is good.
Calm him down a little bit. That seems to help.
That's good. And then I would have my hand on his heart and on his back.
Okay.
That helps ground him back into his little body. Okay. So those are going to be some practical things to do, but energetically go back to what was super unexpected that to the core.
That's like blinking red, because I don't think I've dealt with it ever. So. And
as a result, how do we view unexpected things coming through? Do we like to know things? Do we not like surprise parties? That right. Kind of thing.
Okay. So he will get better if I get better. That's what we're saying.
Kids are working together on the same project.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Awesome. Thank you, Trudy.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to Scott. Scott, do you have a question for Denise?
Oh. Am I unmuted?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I have lightning or Sir Lightning Storm around me, and I have Dexter around me. They both passed away about 1 year to 2 years ago. How do I know which one's which?
Interesting. So that's going to become observation, trusting your intuition, right? So the beauty of it is you feel their energy around you, right? They both.
Yeah, I have way too many energies around me.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the clearing. This is when we feel that we have too many energies around us and we're not necessarily, and control is a trigger word, so I'm not going to use that. But when we feel like we have a lot of energies around us and we're not directing it, then we need to create a clearing. We need to clear our space and we need to start fresh. So we need to say, everybody at all energies, step back. Dexter, step forward. Let me feel you. Let me see how you feel. Dexter, step back. Other pup, step forward. Let me feel. So this is going to be about you learning to orchestrate and dictate what goes on in the energy. Because when we're very connected, sometimes it's tempting for us to let them run the show, right? Oh, good. They're just here. All my friends are here. My buddies are here. Or, the energies, the presences are here. Start directing it like a conductor. It's almost like that cartoon of, Mickey Mouse, where he has a wizard's hat and he's having the bucket do this, someone else do that. Direct it so that you can feel the difference. You're in full control. You have their full compliance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Scott?
Well, yeah, it all makes sense. That's my problem.
Yeah. And so this is you stepping into empowerment rather than being in receptive mode where you're accepting, receiving, whether it's tips, resources, information, energies around you. This is about you standing up and deciding what enters your space and what doesn't. And I love that we're ending on this as the final question, because it gets back to decluttering, right? Everything can be beneficial and useful, but we are being asked to step in and say, you know what? Less of this, more of this, or that's not going to, we're going to have you leave for now and you come in. It's all about the empowerment that comes with making choices about what we allow in our space.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. That was great. Great question.
All right.
And the thing is, what you just shared in the question that Scott asked and what you just shared is helpful for us, not just with our pets, but, with our energies and, the guides that we work with, or the angels that we work with, or the galactics that we work with, right? It is about us, having more power over our energy and our space, right? And so as much as, you know, we all love, you know, being able to communicate with different beings, etc., I can't do it all the time, right? So there's a time and a place for everything, and we need to understand that we have that power, that control. I don't like to use those words either, but that's all that's coming right now, of when we want to work with them, when they're allowed to come into our space, right?
That's absolutely right. And I think you make a really good point that I just want to echo, which is we're being asked to be empowered and make decisions about everything from what behaviors are acceptable with our animal companions and which we need to kind of, you know, redirect and work with and then reward instead. We're being asked to look at throughout our day what energies are entering our space, which we want to keep and which we want to ask the animals help clearing because they want to partner with us. Even to, you know, who we're allowing into our heart, into our space, into our energy, into our connections. Because when we have that overwhelm and we're not empowered, a lot of times either we become passive and then overwhelmed, or we shut down altogether like I did. I was like, I don't want to see disembodied humans, and forget it. And then I realized I did an opening when I, you know, opened back up and I had more disembodied humans, and I set a rule. I'm like, the only time I'm welcoming disembodied humans is if it's through a reading with pets and they bring them in, because otherwise, no, thank you. So we get to make those decisions, and it doesn't mean that we lose our intuition, we lose our privileges, we lose our skills. We're making space to welcome what we want in. And just before we wrap, I just want to make sure that we answer Jill B, because I kind of teased it a little bit. She talked about her senior cat, Bobby, who will not use the litter box. And she wanted to think about how that relates to me. This is actually something really beautiful, where our pets' accidents can actually reflect something really positive about us. What Bobby is talking about with you, Jill B, is that what's coming through is the double B, the 22/4, which is the master vibration of the heart, new foundations and love. And so what Bobby's reflecting back by that is he's celebrating your unwillingness to soil other people's energy. He's talking about situations in your life where maybe, you know, people like to get around and gossip or talk smack about each other, or, you know, someone in your life always comes around and has something, you know, negative to say about something. You do not engage with that. You are the person who rises above, who chooses to only communicate in love. You don't want to kind of get bogged down in that. So Bobby is reflecting that habit of yours in this inconvenient way to you, but in the way that he's showing and celebrating your beautiful heart, your high vibrational choices. So speak to Bobby, let him know that you hear him, you see him, but it would be really great if you use this actual litter box. And then the secondary aspect of it that he's showing is sometimes as a senior cat, he just can't hold it or can't be bothered to go. So it's a little bit of the signs of the time and the age. I would even say, since I'm not a medical intuitive, you might even want to double check to see whether, one, he has a UTI, or two, if he does happen to kind of eliminate in a consistent spot outside the litter box, look at that context. What area in the house? Because you can put a feng shui map over that and understand which aspect of your life he's kind of drawing attention to. So sorry, Shefali, I just wanted to make sure that we got to Jill B's question because I had teased it before.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I had thought about Jill B's question too, and then I forgot at the end. So thank you. I'm glad you mentioned it. Yes, absolutely. Because we did mention that we were going to talk about it later. Good. And, you know, so Jill, hopefully that helps and that resonates with you. But again, you know, it is always that question of when our pet is doing something, you know, how does that affect me? Meaning, what am I doing as well, right? Like, what wisdom is there for me in this behavior, in this situation, right? And so, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's absolutely right. When we understand our pets are mirrors, we know that their behavior always has a clue for us, and that clue is one rooted in love, expansion, and empowerment.
I love that, you know, and that's the thing with our wonderful pets. I mean, anytime I start to talk about Neo or think about Neo, I automatically start smiling, right? Because I just love him so much. That's besides the point, but he is so empowering, and he brings so much joy and laughter and just yumminess into my life. And the way that we have, we talked a little bit briefly, just a tad, about soul contract. We do have a contract with our pets, that, and even pets in the wild, right? We do have a contract with them, and it is about understanding their behaviors, communicating with them in a way that, they can let us know what's going on with them, and at the same time look at, well, what's going on with me. It's like it's a symbiosis type of relationship, I feel, right? And it's so powerful and it's so special. Absolutely. But like some of the wisdom that came through today, Denise, it's always amazing. It's always like, oh my God, where did she get this, right? And it's so relevant for all of us. And I'm sure you all can relate to the answers that Denise brought through, the wisdom that she brought through. But I know that for some of you, it's like you might have something really specific. So please, take this opportunity to work with Denise, right? Package A or package B, to get that 30-minute reading with Denise and see exactly what your pet is trying to tell you, or what information is coming through. Because as we've seen with all of the different people that Denise worked with today, it was always, it was something different, it was something different, but each person's journey is also different and unique, right? So we're all going through so much change and transformation right now. And our pets are also going on this journey with us as well, right? So they are also going through all the ups and downs, all the intensities. And sometimes I feel like they can definitely handle it better than we can. that is for sure. And they are assisting us so much. And so definitely please do, if you can, work with Denise, because it's going to give you, so much more wisdom than sometimes when we try to understand. It's like, I don't know, I have no idea, right? We sometimes pull our hair out. It's like, I don't know what he's trying to tell me. Well, Denise can help you with that. And it's not just about, the medical intuitive stuff, but sometimes it is about your journey, your path, your ascension, and what's going on, right? So it's so imperative. So please do check out the special offer page. And of course, go back and watch and listen to this recording again, because like I said, there's so much wisdom came through. And these pets, they give us so much information and wisdom. It's amazing. It's just, I'm always like, it's like boggles my mind that they have all this wisdom that they are sharing with us so freely and so lovingly. So, yeah, I just love them. So thank you, Denise. That was so wonderful. And thank you, everybody, for all your questions. I know we didn't get to everybody, but hopefully we got to a lot. Right. So anything else you want to add, Denise, really quickly? Because I know it was like so much already, right?
No, thank you again for hosting us. Congratulations on your new season. And thank you to this beautiful Soul Pack for sharing your stories, your pets. When we have these real life examples, not only do we feel more connected with each other, because a lot of us can relate to some of the highs and lows of pet guardianship, but it helps us kind of root this information in practical examples. So thank you for showing up and participating. And thank you, Shefali, for this beautiful new start to the season, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. The recording will be out in a little while. We'll be back on Thursday with another new show, so please do join us then. So until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all so much love and blessings for you and your pets and all those wonderful pets in the wild who are helping us all the time as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Much love and blessings, everyone. Bye for now.